Marty. So pumped to have you on today. Thank you for joining the Horse
Thank you,
Movement.
Kay. I'm really excited. This is so cool. I'm really, really and honored. Thank you very much.
You bet. You bet. So, let's talk a little bit about your beginnings in horses. I don't think we've ever talked about how you got started with horses and how you got involved, but tell me a little bit about that framework of your
I
beginnings
think
with
I was
horses.
2 years old when they took me to ride Playland and the pony rides. And I have a picture of me downstairs, and my mother's holding me, and I'm pointing and drooling, going, ponies, So that's when it started. And then, of course, I went to Breyer Horses and eventually got to lessons. My next door neighbor, we moved like every 3 years. We lived in California for a while, and my next door neighbor's mother, who was my friend, her kid was my friend, and she used to ride, so she took us riding, and that was it too. My mother was from Brooklyn. She's like, oh no, it's bad enough she brings home squirrels and birds and all this stuff, now horses. And of course, they thought I'd outgrow it, but that didn't happen, obviously. But it was good. The riding lessons I had in California were absolutely awful. It was like 8 kids to a lesson to plop you on, and they just put you around. And that's when I knew right then, I'm like, there's a better way. There's got to be a better way. Pick, kick, and pull. And like, no, I didn't want to do that. I was like, this is wrong. So then the next move we had was to England. So that was good, because then they put the Yankee on the lunge line. And taught her how to sit and ride, and that was wonderful. So that was an opening, but still, the British are more like, you got over it, jolly good. This doesn't matter whether your heels off your butt, doesn't, but you were good, you got over it.
What part of England, by the way? What part?
We lived 3 years up in Northampton.
Okay.
And then 2 years down in Virginia waters.
Nice.
I loved it. I did not want to move back, and yeah, we were over there. It was great. I got a pony, a Connemara pony, he gave me so much confidence. I had no confidence as a kid. I was terrified. And it was hard. In California, they just put you on this 16 one-hand beast, and it was like, I was...
You don't want to come off that.
I had no reason. Yeah, no, exactly. Thank God they didn't. But so then I felt much better. In England, they put me on ponies, but then I met gravity. Because ponies will do that to you. But they also taught you to sit up, but it's a lot shorter. It doesn't hurt so much,
Right.
But that was great. My pony was an angel, a saint. I mean, I could pony club with him. I hunted with him, did everything with him. He was gymkhanas. He was just a star.
That's
So,
awesome.
then we moved back to America, and I went to Kent School. They've got a great riding program there, and it was great because I got to ride all the horses and nobody else wanted to ride.
Right?
Yeah, it was wonderful. I was, I had a lot of nerve or lack of brains, one or the other. I can't decide which. But I loved them. The hot ones, the spicy ones, or the ones that people thought were just too stubborn, or all the above. And that was great. So that was the start of that. And then I went to college in Skidmore up in Saratoga. Because I'm like, there's a racetrack. And actually, I first found it because they have a big A show there. And we went there from Kent, and I'm like, there's a college here and a racetrack here. I'm going here, and an art school. So that was great, because I worked at the track a couple summers, and that was a great experience. Oh my God, that was amazing.
Awesome.
Really, really fun. So then from there, then after I graduated, I went to Kingswood Farms, not there anymore, in Lyme, and started a program there, and that was fun. And then moved on to Yale. I did the equestrian team there, the intercollegiate, as well as the public program. That was fun. Taught me a lot, how to run a horse show. Oh my gosh.
So many moving parts.
Oh man, and judges, the stewards, and this and that, and ordering. It was good though, really good mileage, and a lot of fun too. Because I wasn't much older than the kids, so it was like, this is great. This is a lot of fun.
That's
really
awesome.
good. And then I got Top Cat Farm in Killingworth, and I had that for 20 years, and that was just a dream come true. To be able to have your own place, that was wonderful. It's a lifestyle. There's no doubt about it. It's all you do. It's all I wanted to do. It was great. But then I got Lyme, and, then that 5 years of that, and it just ended up fusing my hips. So, I think I met you after I got my surgery. Yeah. So I had the bilateral surgery in 2020, and thank heavens, got that before the plague hit. Now I'm sound as a trout and riding again, and it's just such a blessing.
That's awesome.
Blessing. Yeah, because I couldn't walk. I mean, that was a great blessing too, because I had to learn to walk again. I was going side to side. I looked kind of like that character in Toy Story, with Andy, with the bow legs. Dad, when old people in the supermarket go, "Can I help you?" It was so it was awful.
I can imagine.
God. So that was great. But anyway, but back in 2007, no, when did I start practicing yoga? Started practicing yoga in 2000 because I wanted to do something to get off the farm. I'm like, I've got to do something, expand myself a little. I felt so constricted. I was doing everything I loved, but I needed, I just needed to do something else. And a friend's like, oh, let's go do yoga. I'm like, oh, it's going to be Birkenstock and granolas. I don't want to do this. I was so judgmental. What a schmuck.
We all are. So you're not a schmuck.
Every time I feel myself saying no, I'm like, wait a minute, girl. Yeah, because now I'm in love with it, and it just, but as I was saying to you earlier, the first time I stood and he asked us to stand in tree pose, one-legged, and I'm sitting, I'm like, I can balance a 17 one-hand horse, I thought. My jumper was huge, and I thought I could balance him. I could balance me, no. And I'm like, wow, this, it was just an epiphany. I'm like, I've really got work to do here.
Wow.
So, yeah, I haven't worn Birkenstocks yet, but I like granola. But anyway, I just fell in love with yoga. I really did. And my riding got better. And as my riding got better, I'm like, I've got to give this to my students.
Right.
So I started putting it together, and a friend of mine put our first little book together, and she's since kind of gotten out of it. She has a child to raise and all that good stuff. But I carried it on, and so we had a book initially, and then I really wanted to make it clear to people, make it easier for them to understand, so I did DVDs, which unfortunately seem to have gone the way of dinosaurs these days.
Sure.
But now I have links, so you can get the exercises through links too, because I think being able to see the exercises is safer.
Yes.
Because it's yoga, and you want to make sure that you're, if you have retinal problems, that you don't do inversions. If you have certain health issues, you don't do certain poses. That's important. Then to be safe, and because it's an exploration, and you don't want to explore too far, and you don't want to hurt yourself. So I think it's easier to see it. For me, I'm a very visual learner.
Right.
That really, really helps me. So I think that's why I did DVDs and such. So
that's awesome.
It's great. And I love doing workshops. I go to Barnes. We do like an hour and a half on the mats and get everybody loosened up and zen,
Yeah,
just change their whole vibration like we were talking about earlier. It's amazing what we resonate in our out, it's just or not, depending on how we are.
Totally.
Mentally and breath-wise and everything. So, and then after that, we'll do 45 minutes on the lunge line. And I've actually changed it because I was doing 2 people lunging at a time while I was instructing from the outside. But then it's kind of hard because not everybody has people who can lunge. The horses love the Equi yoga. One of my favorite pictures is on my website is we were at High Hopes, and it was like 12 degrees. It was freezing, and I was doing a demonstration. This lovely lady in like all these down coats. She's in cat. She's rounded up in her back, and I asked people to do lion breath too. You have to stick your tongue out and cross your eyes. And so she's like that. You can't see her face, but the horse has his tongue out too.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Oh my God. They love it. They love it, and it's
so good.
Because when you see it mounted and when they're on the lunge line like that, you'll see the way the horses change their way of going.
Right.
And that's fascinating. This little choppy stride turns into this nice, long, floaty stride. Because all of a sudden, the backpack's a lot more balanced. The person up there is breathing there, and it's really cool.
So what year did you start the Equi yoga?
2007.
Okay.
That's when we put it together. I took it to American riding instructors, and they gave me instructor of the year for it. So that's
amazing.
Yeah, that was really an honor. Wow, it's terrifying giving that demonstration in front of people with the power.
Of course, no pressure.
Yeah. Oh, and then of course the system didn't want to work, and oh God,
there's always a glitch when you're to be on the soapbox. It's always a glitch.
Unbelievable. And this nice man, and he's like, "Don't worry, dear, we're gonna be fine." And I'm like on the edge of crying my eyes out. Like, we're gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine. And then I gave him this thing. Well, like, well, test this, and it was a video of me riding my old horse and doing Warrior 2. And he's like, "What's this? Who's this kid doing this?" I said, "It's not a kid, it's me." And he's like, "Ooh, yeah." That was funny. This kid doing? I was like, "That's Equi yoga." And he's like, "What?" Yeah. People either get it or they don't get it, and that's okay. It doesn't matter. But I've been able to offer it to not just riders, but to people with addictions and to people who and veterans too, PTSD.
Oh, I'm sure they get a lot out of it too.
The power, the inherent healing powers of horses is just never ceases to amaze me. Whether you're mounted or just being with them, I'll do work on the ground, even with people, helping them with addiction and stuff. They're just great. They have so much wisdom. It just blows me away.
It's so true.
Just does. When we are quiet enough to hear it.
Yeah,
That's what the yoga helps. When you can really conquer your breath or control your breath, then you can control your mind, because your breath aces your brain. It really does. Without the breath, you're nothing. So true. Brain doesn't like to know that. Don't tell anybody, right? But that's called the ego. When you can, return to breath and steady your thoughts and steady your energy and everything like that, it's just so much more pleasant for everybody to be around. And especially for somebody's back.
It's true. It's so true. And so, like, how would you say your experience has been, introducing yoga with horses, the Equi yoga? How do you feel you've been received, and what's been your experience in the industry bringing that in? Do you feel like you've had like an embrace, or do you feel like you've had to kind of navigate certain, challenges with people? Like,
it's getting it out there. It's really getting it out there. Once I'm there, people love it. And I love the way they look afterwards. They're all like zened out and happy, and it's just beautiful. And the horses are happy. One of my best experiences up in the Catskills, my friend has this beautiful farm on top of this mountain. I mean, like, the fog is below you on the mountain, that house. So we start off on the mats, and there's goats and cattle and sheep and everything down at the bottom of the hill. We start practicing. The sun starts coming up. It's just gorgeous. All the cows, the sheep, everybody comes up to the fence by where we're practicing. It was like a Disney movie.
Wow.
And rabbits come out and the birds come out, and I'm like,
you just needed Cinderella to show
up. Yeah, we were Cinderellas. It was beautiful. Yeah, it was magical. And it happens like that. It's such a wonderful practice. I love it. I love it. So it's just getting it out there. And yoga is definitely not such an exotic exercise, like I said to you earlier.
Right.
I don't know. Lululemon had something to do with it, I think, because people are going to yoga more and more now. And I hope
it's true.
They get to go because, the benefits it does for our breath and body and everything, just amazing.
Right.
Not just looking cute,
That's true. Or the pants. The pants are quite comfy.
That's what. Yeah, they are comfortable. I will give. I don't go Lululemon price range, but yeah. I usually practice in my britches. When we're at the workshops, we're all in britches. So
that's awesome. So have you had to face? I'm sure you have with coming in with a new idea. But what are a couple of the challenges that you've faced with introducing this to the horse world, and how did you overcome some of those challenges?
The biggest challenge is my head. Banging my own drum is really hard for me. It's really hard. So it's like, got to get it up, get it out there, And I did talk to Kogi Long. She runs the Equine Affair. I was there in 2012, and that was great. And that helped a lot. But then I had 5 years of Lyme, and that just took me out. But now I'm back. So,
so Lyme wasn't.
I applied to get over this year, and I haven't heard yet. So fingers crossed. It'd be fun to get back in. If not this year, maybe next year, because it's a great venue, and it was so much fun when I went there. Oh my gosh, I had people in the stands. I invited them all to stand up. So we weren't lunging. I had just one of those little flats in the corner of the Equine Affair, but it's okay. It was the Equine Affair,
Right.
And it's like, okay, everybody in the stands, stand up and do the stretches too. And it was great. I'd say like 80% of people stood up, and
awesome.
It was just fantastic. And everybody's giggling and laughing because they were, like, tumbling over or whatever. That's what it's all about. It's just trying new stuff and laughing if it doesn't work, just having a good time with it. It was a lot. Oh, it was wonderful. It just shivers every time I think of it.
Oh, I'm sure. I imagine that the Lyme piece was also kind of a challenge too, because you had to kind of navigate your health in a different way too. But I'm sure some of your own practices with yoga were part of the solution in you getting better.
Absolutely. Keeping me sane, because the pain was incredible.
Right.
So keeping me from wanting to, step in front of a train, it really helped that. And I tried everything before I went to the surgery, because I just didn't want to do the surgery. It was scary. It's very Frankenstein. they'd go in there and chop stuff up and put new things in it. But, I was in and out of there an hour and a half. I got like an oil change. Unbelievable. And, and here's your life back. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's great.
Unbelievable. Yeah. But it was good because it taught me a lot for people who are in pain all the time and what exercises do help relieve it, even if it's only temporarily. And then what part does fascia have to put into it? I wasn't sure until I got the x-rays. I wasn't sure, was it fascia, from the Lyme, or was it muscle? What is this? Is it bone? And then it ends up being bone and cartilage. But I tried peeling off the layers to see what it was, and then got down to, I saw the x-rays. I'm like, ruh-roh.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to be all white around the edges.
Right.
That's fine. But walking, I was walking side to side to compensate, and we do like automatically. People, horses too. Some things doesn't feel good. When you see older people walking around like this, they're not doing it because they,
Yeah, it's compensation. A lot of it. And then restriction builds up in the body, and then you're stuck until somebody unlocks you.
Exactly. And that's what I laugh when people go, "Oh, I can't do yoga. I'm too stiff." I'm like, "You're not stiff. You're stuck."
Right.
And that's okay. We can unstuck you.
Yeah.
Get that.
Right.
So that was good. And then when I got the hits and I got the wheels on right, learning how to walk again was ever so humbling. I mean, I had to walk like a monk in the beginning. I was like, heel toe, soften you, and then getting my glutes back. I mean, it was a anterior operation, which I highly suggest to anybody getting their hips done. I can't imagine if they went in through the back muscles, the butt muscles. That must take forever to heal. Anyway, but that was very humbling, learning how to walk again. And what is constructive to reestablishing my equilibrium. Like, I feel good getting on my horse right away. My surgeon's like, "When are you going to ride?" I'm like, "Once I feel good on the ground, then I'll get upstairs and we'll take it from there. But I'm not getting up there until I feel good down here. I know better than that." And I'm not, my ponies to take care of me, but still. And they did. God bless them. And it's great because, I got Molly, who's this big, and then Ray, who's that big. So it was perfect.
You had a range.
Yeah, it was very good. Today we're going to stretch the hips, Molly, and today we're going to do this right. So that was great. But it was a really interesting journey coming back. And it took about 6 months till I felt like I could ask her to do something. 3 months before I could get on.
Right.
Another 3 months before I felt like I could ride, not just be a passenger.
Right.
The Equi yoga helped me so much with that too, and it still does. I went out it was like a month ago without stretching on a trail ride with a friend of mine. We were out for about 45 minutes, an hour. And the next day I was sore, and I'm like, duh, I didn't stretch before I went. No wonder,
and I stretch those babies.
Yeah, totally. Especially with the hips, I've got to do it. I mean, I stretch every day before I start the day, but before I ride, it's only fair. And it's funny. I was wondering why my horse is kind of like, and no, because it's carrying this in upstairs.
He's probably feeling the tension in your body too, which is causing him to probably be like,
"Oh yeah,
okay."
And Ray's super sensitive. Yeah, and that's exactly it. Because he was kind of like spooky. You know how they, when they do something wrong, it's usually us or so. So
right.
Little did I put the two together, but it was one of those things. Let's hurry up and go for a quick trail ride. Okay.
Right. Totally.
Anyway, live and learn. I'll never do that again.
Right.
And it's only just a series that I do before I get going is just only takes like 5 minutes. Not even just a short series. Just supple the back and wake up, twist the spinal and all. And feels good.
That's awesome. So what advice, like if you were to come across somebody that's like, I'm really interested, opening my body more, getting more pliable, before riding, like what's a couple pieces of advice that you could give somebody that maybe has interest in doing more yoga, either before getting on their horse or with their horse? What would be a couple pieces of advice that you could give them when getting started with yoga or equi yoga?
Right. Be gentle and kind to yourself, because my bad habit, it took me about a year to stop treating yoga like a sport. It's not a sport. It's a practice, and it takes time, and that's the pleasurable part, is like every time I hit the mat, I'm a different body. I am, whether it's the morning body, afternoon body, it's every day, it's a different body. So you got to treat it kindly and explore gently, because but with interest, because it's really cool once you start navigating yourself. becoming more aware on a day-to-day basis, like your habitual postures. Like
Yes.
I ask people, instead of, taking an Advil, why does your shoulder hurt? Or I have people come to me like, my horse is really heavy on the right. I'm like, well, I wonder why, and I'm like, okay, bring that right shoulder back, and all of a sudden, and guess who that person was? The right shoulder back, your horse's right shoulder comes back. Okay. So yeah, me. So yeah, totally.
And sometimes it's a link to other things too, where you're like,
Yeah,
it might be my shoulder, but really it's like my cheekbone, or maybe it's like,
yeah, it's all connected. So once you start to realize where balance really is on the ground and on the mat, and then you take it upstairs and you're on this moving mat, it's a different thing. But like I say, the healing powers of horses is just fantastic. It really is.
it's complementary with the yoga movements, I bet, in a lot of ways too, because you're opening yourself, you're opening your core, but then you have this being that's regulating you while you are doing these poses. I bet it's like a whole amazing experience too.
It is. My favorite, I don't know what you want, testimonial, I guess, was one of my boarders, 87-year-old father. He used to ride when he was 7, so he knew how to do it. I was like, you don't have to worry about it. Just get up there and have a good time. And he was a Marine, and he's a little wiry guy, really sweet. And afterwards, he gets off. I'm like, so, how'd you like that? He goes, that was spiritual.
Wow.
I'm like, really? From a Marine, he was commander something. Yeah. They don't say things like that, they really mean that, and it just came out, and it was. And I've had people, come and after like a car accident, and physical therapists can't believe how much quicker their recovery is. And I've had people come to me, trauma, different things, and, end up crying, and that's fine too,
It's a release. It's all
it is, because a lot of these, you're twisting and you're just getting stuff out of your system. We hold so much in our organs, like our gut especially. So when you start opening up that whole center area, and that's where the horses need to come through anyway. They need to come through us to come through their backs. Things come out, and that's okay. Or people start laughing incredibly silly too, and that's fun. That's okay. It is. It's really fun. I gave Equi yoga to Teresa. I forgot her new married name, but from Channel 8. And it was hysterical. It's on my web. She comes in these like Puss in boots, with up over the knee. Yes, scooting up to Molly. Molly gives her the side eye, like, really? That's so cute. But it's adorable. And she was doing, she said, I do yoga. I know how to do it. And she was adorable, and she did. But after about 5 minutes, she goes, this is really hard. And it's, it's key. And I think that if people can do a certain set of movements, or they should be able to do a certain set of movements before they even get the reins, because you just, I see so many heavy-handed riders, and it just, it makes me sad.
Do you find that they're more kind of locked into a certain frame themselves?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why our habitual postures get us stuck. We're like this in front of the computer, or like this on our phones, or, rarely are we like this and happy and smiling and breathing,
Right.
With like a real east-west breathing, so that you're breathing deep enough so your ribs move. I mean, the breath, we breathe enough to sustain a chipmunk, and that's not enough.
That's true.
And then I've had people say, oh, my backaches are gone, my headaches are gone. Yeah, it's great.
Oxygenation, man. It really, it influences the blood, the flow of your body, everything.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
It's wonderful stuff. And it's free.
Exactly. Which is, at this point in time, is a great,
really good bonus.
Who were some key people in your life that inspired you with this movement of equi yoga and yoga? Like, what were a couple people that maybe just you watched them and you're like, I want to do that, or I want to be that person, or be close to that person? Like, who was kind of in proximity with you that really inspired you on this journey with equi yoga?
It was just something, I guess, Sally Swift. If I had to really drag it back to somewhere, because I never got a chance to meet her, but I'm a massive fan of her use of imagery, and I use it a lot in my training and teaching and riding. And so I think that, I just thought, by golly, she's no spring chicken when she introduced it. So, I'm like, what the hell? My whole attitude is, why not? And, it really felt like it was my obligation as an instructor to share it, So it wasn't really anybody that I'd seen do it before except for her, because she came up with such a different approach that people grasped, and accepted. And it's funny because I sent 3 DVDs. I sent one to, geez Louise, I'm going to do a brain fart here. I apologize.
No,
Big
you're
instructors. No, it's awful. Denny Everson, who I admire incredibly, George Morris, and Jimmy Wooford. I sent 3 DVDs out to these guys. Only George Morris responded, which was interesting, because they're all busy guys. But he's like, we need to add different modalities to make better riders. And I was impressed. So that was good. Yeah.
very cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. And he wasn't the easiest guy to get along with. I mean, I know whatever his reputation, whatever, but he was a good trainer in a lot of ways. So
That's good. And you can get pieces, like bits and pieces. Like, I don't agree with everyone's approach with horses, but there are some, like you said, modalities that you can adopt and use for your benefit, but doesn't mean you have to, agree with everything.
everything.
Model everything. But I mean, I feel like the best riders, instructors, horse people, horsewomen, horsemen, I feel like the best of the best have picked things along the way from their predecessors and over time kind of formulated their own, you know what I mean? Their own.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm still doing it, still learning, so much. Yeah. It's wonderful. But yes, I used to, when I was at Kent, I got to watch really good riders like Anthony D'Ambrosio had horses in one of the barns once, and I groomed for him when he won the Saratoga Cup. That was great. But I watched him ride, and he was so soft. And Norman Della Gioia was there too, and I'm like, I want to ride like that. He was small too, and I can identify with him because Anthony D'Ambrosio is tall, and I love Michael Max. These guys are tall, and William Steingrass are all tall. I'm like, I can't ride like a tall rider.
No.
Finally hit that at I got to look at like Margie Engel. I got to look at smaller people and adapt. But when I see a soft rider, I'm like, oh, that's the way I want to be. And then I finally met Bettina, my mentor, Bettina Drummond, 2010, I think. And she's like the instructor I've been waiting for my whole year, my whole life. And it was just amazing to find her. I met her at a New England Dressage Association clinic. I was like, I was the jumper rider in for the dressage. I made sure it looked good. My horse is all braided up and everything. And we're going around, and she's just, I love her to pieces. She's watching me. She goes, put your hands down. I'm like, okay, all this for, equitation 101. What the heck? Then I go around again, put your hands down. I'm like, stay down. And I go around again, put your hands down and leave them there. And I'm like, it's in front of like 60 people. And I'm like, okay. So I did. I kind of grabbed onto the pad. And then when I started to really, I thought I had good hands. And then when I put him down and really got out of his face completely, he started to dance, and I was like, oh, and then she's telling me to move my hip and she's telling me to ride with my bones, basically. And I'm like, wow, and he's a 17-1, you never met Teddy, 17-1, Dutch warm blood, Clydesdale thoroughbred, and any one of those on any given day. But and all of a sudden he's so soft and light in my hands, everything I've been, dreaming of and feeling of occasionally, but not on a regular basis. And then here it is. And it's so subtle. And I say that to her all the time. Like, it's so subtle. It's just simple. I'm like, whatever. But yeah, it is.
But like you said earlier, we get up here. And when we get up here, the survival brain kicks in and it controls the physiology. And we're like holding back and holding,
or else I'm arguing in my brain. I'm like, don't. And one time lesson, she's, just do what I say. I'm like, good idea. I will host like that. Yeah, I'm going to bypass the gray matter and just go straight to the body. And sure enough, it was perfect. Yeah. So just a wonderful. And every time I watch her ride, I'm just like, it's just, you don't see the rider, and that's what I want to, it just see this beautiful
thing.
Yeah, it's just art. It's art. It's like a dance. It is a dance. It's beautiful.
That's awesome. Tell me a little bit about what you're doing with Equi Yoga and what kind of projects you have going on right now with horses in general. Are you working on anything specific? Are you doing clinics, or what are you involved with right now?
Right. I'm doing workshops and clinics, and I've got a couple lined up already this year, but I'm looking to get some more. So it's just, but again, see, it's me. I have to call people and make contact because, make my anthill bigger that I can. And thanks to you, now people will hear me because I just love it. It's great. And I do a certification too, as I was telling you earlier. And so it's great to have people like out on the West Coast teaching it and down in New Mexico and up north too. So it's good to have it safe practice out there. But I would really like, I'd like to get people, if they want certification, to come, contact me, or anybody who wants workshops. That's really fun, or private lessons too. I do individual one-on-ones as well. But it's a fun thing for a barn to do because, kids and adults alike, everybody starts giggling and having a good time and really feeling a difference in their ride, and that's the best thing. I mean, I'm doing it for the horses as much as the riders, I have to confess. I really am.
Which is awesome. That's
it's great. Then all of a sudden they're like, I don't need to hang out with my hands anymore. I know where I am in the saddle. I can sit and relax, and it's all about moving with them. So it's not moving. That's why I didn't understand equitation when I first came back to America. They're like, sit there and look like this. I'm like, really? The whole time? With your heels down? What? But, anyway, so it's been a journey, but it's great.
I love that. I love that approach. I think I hear similar experiences when people relinquish control. People just let go. Maybe their regimented way, or they let go of maybe previous conditioning that didn't serve them.
Well, yes, I get a lot of people telling me, oh, I have to have my toes facing straight ahead. I'm like, no, you really don't. And you're not built for that. Everybody's built differently. And you've got to put that into consideration because I can't, it's just, and they're so relieved when I say, let your toe come out a little, let your heel soften, and all of a sudden their shins stop hurting and their knees stop hurting or their hips stop hurting.
Right.
All of a sudden, like I said, the headaches are gone, their backaches are gone. And it's like, oh, so yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's neat.
Cool. So I just have a couple of final questions, some fun questions for you that I ask everybody on the show. And this particular question is called my 3 gold nuggets question. So all this is really is if everything you ever did with horses went away for whatever reason, whether the internet died or something happened and everything disappeared, nobody had access to anything that you've done with horses, but you could leave behind 3 pieces of wisdom, insight, inspiration, 3 things that people could remember you by, that they could live on their horse journey, taking those gold nuggets with them to help them with horses. What would those 3 truths be?
It was great when I saw that on your little outline. I'm going, I pondered and chewed on that one for a long time. Isn't it good? It's really good. And I narrowed it down to listen to your horse. That was the first one. Let me make sure I get this absolutely correct. Yeah, listen to your horses. Because a lot of times, people are like, oh, my horse is like my therapist. My horse is, that. I'm like, it's really not fair. Just go there and dump on them all your woes and worries and then get on, expect to have a good ride. Right. Try to listen to them. Like if he doesn't want his bridle on right away, or he doesn't come to you right away in the field, or what's wrong?
Right.
Listen to them. See, empathize with them and ask them. Because it just makes a world of difference when they know they're heard. When they don't know they're heard, they can come up with antics or stupid things so that's the key thing. Listen to yours. Plus, they're so wise. Oh my gosh. I mean, one time I was going to get on Teddy, and in my head, I just had 2 boarders who moved, one to South Carolina, one to Massachusetts, and they were key boarders. I mean, I loved them, and they're great horses, and they showed. So it was, I'm like, there goes a big part of my income, gulp, and friends. And that was, so I was sad in lots of ways. So he's looking at me. I put the saddle on. He turns and looks at me again, and he says, stay in the present, because the present is a present every day. And I'm like, okay, you mean you didn't want me to get on your back with all that shit in my head? Come on, what's wrong with you?
Right.
So I did. I was like, you're right. Everything's good. It's a beautiful day. We're going to have a great ride. And we did. We went for a trail. We had a good time. And yeah, but if I had gotten upstairs with all that stuff in my head, I know he would have done something to bring me back to reality, like spooked or, something like, hey, come back here.
Be with me. Be with
Yeah,
me.
exactly. Be with me, man.
Right. Right.
Yeah, right. So that's it. So listen to your horses because they are so wise. Oh, yes. And listen to your body. When something hurts, try to find out why. Like, is my neck hurt? Well, how are you carrying your head?
Right.
And how are you carrying your shoulders? How are you carrying your chest? How are you carrying yourself? Really, truly. Because we're so conditioned to just take an Advil or take a pill. Something hurts. Don't bother finding out why.
Right.
Just, take this for that.
Placebo effect.
Yeah, it's just I don't know, take a sugar cube instead, it'd be better for you. But or a sugar pill, I should say. But find out why, because it's really important, and then you can do something about it, and your body will like you too, and that's a big thing. I see so many people fighting their body or fighting their body's image or fighting that, and it's like, it's your body, love it. It's okay. It's gonna get better if you take care of it and you try some of this stuff, and it'll everybody be happier, and just it's so key. And through listening to your body, you have to use your breath to get there, because the brain bite is not going to take you there. So doing pranayama, controlled breathing exercises like they do in yoga, are fantastic modalities to reconnect to your body. They really are wonderful, wonderful techniques. And then the third one was that be grateful and happy.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Gratitude is a huge power. And I feel like I was just having this conversation with my partner the other day about accessing what's negative is so easy to do.
Oh, and we're kind of, I don't know, I've got something in my brain that wants to go there.
Yeah, we all do. And I think it's our brain's way of protecting us by saying, watch out for this negative thing. But then we end up focusing on it.
Yeah.
And then our energy goes there. But it's like, we have all this amazing stuff too that we can access, all this positive stuff. Right. We got a roof over our head. Let's start there. We got the breath in our lungs. We're breathing today. That's a good way to start.
That's it. Yeah.
So it's like gratitude. I love that that's your third one, because I just feel like we don't do that enough. Yeah. We have healthy horses, which some people can't say right now.
No kidding.
Some horses might be going through, something traumatic that their owner is going through and dealing with. And it's like, we have healthy horses. How lucky are we?
Right. No kidding. Yeah, that's one thing I did want to pitch too. Is I made a design to help the Ukraine Equestrian Charity Foundation.
Ooh,
yeah. Because
I'm glad you said that. I'm gonna put that in the show notes as well.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, I designed these hoodies for horses. Yeah, the t-shirts came out pretty good too. I thought with the t-shirt. Oh, here he is. I like the dark gray as well. It's kind of
let's see it. Yeah, pull it up a little bit more. Oh, I love it. That's gorgeous.
Thank you.
So people can buy those?
It's on my. I sent you that information
on your site. Okay.
Yeah, it's on Bonfire.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, so 100% goes to the Ukraine Equestrian Charity Foundation. I've talked directly to Francisca. I'm not even going to try and say her last name. She sent me pictures. It's horrible. The story is people having to let their horses go. My friend Ann Jameson's written stories on this, or like Francisca said to me, barns being bombed and the horses being eaten. And then trying to get supplies, A, if they can get them, and then B, getting them there without getting killed. It's just a nightmare there. I can't even imagine having horses there right now. It's like, I don't know what I could do, and this is what came to me. So
it's a beautiful thing what you did, and I think that it's gonna make a difference. And I think people in general, I feel like when they tap into stories like that, they want to give back but don't know how. So this would be a great way to do it. Yes, and then share awareness by getting the shirt, and then you know what I mean.
Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, I could just put on my Facebook, send money to these guys. It's like, well, get a groovy shirt too,
Oh, yeah. No, I love that. I love it. People are always into merchandise and apparel, so that's perfect. That's awesome.
Good.
Very, very cool. So before we wrap up our last question, I just want to thank you again, Marty, for coming on and sharing your wisdom and what you're doing with horses. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I think more people need to tap into this. They just need to hit this vein and get into it, because I feel like it would be so beneficial. And I'm definitely going to come to you and
Yes,
at
like,
least
no, I wish you could
have an
come down.
experience. Yeah, totally. We're gonna make it happen. We'll even record it and follow up with it. So
Oh, that'd be
definitely.
so much fun. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah, I'm
Watch
excited to
Kay
try
do
it.
Equi yoga.
I'd be excited to try it for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I'm sure you must get sore.
I do, but I hired a nutrition and a fitness coach who is super into yoga as well and stretching, and she's telling me every night 2 hours you're stretching. I don't care if you watch a movie, you need to stretch that body so those muscles can move. So I'm like, okay, all right, I'm doing it. So I feel like I'm more limber and more, you know what I mean, more flex now. So
Well, I see a difference in your posture. I
Yeah.
really do. So that's great.
yeah,
Good.
it's so important, and I'm grateful that you were able to take the time today and come on and be a part of this movement we're trying to do. So thank you very much for
Thank you
being here.
so much, Kay. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. What an honor. All right. Have a wonderful day.
Yeah, we have one last question. So the last final question is, what is something empowering that you could say to, whether it's a young person coming into horses, new to horses, or maybe somebody returning, maybe their confidence isn't so great, or, maybe they're kind of like shy about, not knowing what to do with horses. What's something empowering based on your experience that you could share with them that they could take with them as well?
Well, I think if people want to get into horses, old or young, volunteering is key. Like there's High Hopes right near me, and it's a great way to get introduced to how to handle horses, how to be around horses. They teach you how horses think, and you're helping other people. I mean, it's a great experience, especially if people can't afford lessons or whatever right now, something, a situation like that, but you got to be around the horse energy, some way, shape, or form. That's a great way to do it. Volunteering is great. And going to different bars or, just going and asking people, going around, call first and make an appointment. Every barn has different energy. And, some are high, show barns, and some are much more family oriented. Find something that fits your energy, your desires, what your goals are. And, shop around, because there's a lot of people hanging shingles up that have no clue what they're talking about, and it's very scary. I'm glad for American Riding Instructors Association. Look for that. If you can get a registered instructor, that's really is key. You can't go wrong there, because in Europe you have to be. Over here anybody can.
It's true.
And so find a good quality instructor and follow your heart, because if your heart tells you that's not right, you don't like the way the animals are being treated, or you don't like this, then don't stay there. Because I say the best experience I had was the worst instructor I ever had, because I knew right away I wanted to be a riding instructor, because I'm like, I don't want to, there's got to be a better way than pulling and kicking. And, that just so.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's great empowerment right there. I love it.
Yeah, just keep learning. There's so much to learn in this. Oh my gosh, it's great. It's
never ending. Anybody comes to you and says they know it all, run.
Yes, exactly. Or my favorite one, when people are like, you're going to take a lesson? I'm like, yeah, darn tootin'. They're like, but you teach my daughter. I'm like, yeah. They're like, I'm still learning.
Coaches get better with coaching.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that. That's perfect. I'm stealing it.
Yeah, do it. No, I have a coach too. And, I have coaches in dentistry. I have coaches in business. I have, because that's the only way you get better. That's the only way you get to the next level is by, bridging that gap. And,
need help. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for being here, Marty. And
thanks again.
We'll catch up real soon. Lots of love to you, and we'll be in touch.
Good. I'll see you in a couple of weeks and come do my pony's teeth. Great.
Forward to it. All right. Have a great day.
You too, sweetheart.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.